Hey guys, it's Chris the Ultimate Recycler here in my shed, and nothing's changed. If you've seen my recent video about access all areas, filming everything I own, confessions of a hoarder, I don't think I used that phrase, but in the thumbnail I did put pure insanity, and I showed all my stores of treasures, and I got some amazing comments, and I want to go through some of them and answer some of your questions and comments. I made a list, and we'll address that in this video, but rather than just me stand here and talk to you, I thought I might as well do something whilst I'm answering your comments. And really, it's the first box on the road to recovery. I have a box of assorted scrap metal that just needs going through, mainly non-ferrous bits and pieces. I don't even know what's in the bottom of it because it came from my old shop and it was under the bench here. And I did mention in that video that it took me 2 hours to find some screws that I'd knocked off the bench, and that was the catalyst to perhaps make a bit of a start on getting more organized, because I tend to just be treading water a lot of the time here. So we'll go through this box while we're answering some of your comments, and I hope you enjoy the video. If you are new to the channel, I'll put the link underneath for the video. It was only a few days ago where I did a big walk around of what's in my storage shed here, what's in my workshop, what's in my other secret storage facilities, and basically had a big walk around and show and tell. Now, I did create some anxiety, I think, amongst some of you. Some of you I know were joking, and I want to address that because it's not... Oh, I'm not going to get much sorted if I do this, am I? We'll start with a piece of aluminium and it's nice and clean. So I'll start with piles for what I get out of here. Now, anxiety is a relative term. I'm not anxious, I'm not stressed. I'm actually really looking forward to the journey, as I look forward to every day. There's some copper that'll go as number 2. It's been soldered, but we'll chop the brass fitting off. So I'll have a pile of what's clean and what needs to be processed. And whilst I've got this in my hand, this is part of a HRC fuse. They're a large ceramic fuse, huge amperages, mainly used in industrial situations. I did a video on scrapping out these one time. I think that'll be copper or brass. I'll touch it with a file in a minute. But the actual elements inside are silver. I'm not sure what purity, but the price of silver is going through the roof at the moment. I'm going to nip them off, and I'll put them with the other ones I've got in a jar, and one day I'll take you along and we'll go to a local jeweler that buys copper and silver, and he's got one of those, what are they, an XRF gun that can tell you what metals you've got. I suspect they're pretty high percentage silver. Anyway, I'm going to lose track all the time if I keep distracting myself. I'm not anxious about my stuff. There's no rush to clean it up, and a few people were suggesting things like a garage sale or you know, selling bulk lots to collectors. I even had a few emails about offering to buy some things. I'm not in a rush. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm 61. I figure I've got 20 or 30 years at least left to tinker in my shed. That's part of a gearbox. That'll be mostly cast aluminium. There might be a bronze bush in there. We better check that. So I'm not in a rush. And as far as my children go, or Christine for that matter, if I happen to have an illness or suddenly can't do anything in here, I'm going to try and get it so that it's not a drama. I don't want them to have to sort out junk, but I'm not going to liquidate everything now. There's no point. And if I do leave stuff for them, I'm planning on leaving good value stuff so that it'll be well worth their while to sort it, maybe call a collector in. That's a door handle. That will be die cast, but it has got a steel spring, so I think we'll put that straight in irony aluminium. That'll save me a bit of time. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm not going to liquidate it all with a big auction or a garage sale or anything, because there's no need. I'm not under any pressure. That's die cast again, which is a cast zinc, and that's a clean piece. So I'll put that separately, although I did take a load of this die cast to the scrapyard once, all separated from my cast aluminium. And the guy just said put it all in together. Now, I'm not sure he was doing the right thing, because aluminium's quite a lot lighter and this is mostly zinc. So obviously I got paid a good price for cast zinc on that particular day, but I will keep it separate and I'll ask again next time. I honestly don't know what they pay for die cast zinc. All right, I'm rambling. I better look at my list because I had some things to say and I don't want to forget anything. So people were feeling happy about their situation after looking at my shed, so you're welcome. The anxiety thing I've kind of touched on, and a few people said, you know, don't look at the big picture. But that's fine if I'm having to clean it up in a hurry, and it might create a lot of undue pressure. There's some clean aluminium. But as I said, I'm not in a hurry. I don't have to have it cleaned out. And if you doubt my abilities, more clean aluminium, on cleaning up a place like this, have a look back on my channel. There's some extruded aluminium, a heatsink. And I have cleaned out, well, the Great Backyard Clean Out series was an epic adventure. And I cleaned up when I had to move from my shop, more clean aluminium. And I managed to get that done in a matter of months. And there was a lot more there than what I've got here. So I feel I'm quite competent in doing jobs like this. I think that's stainless steel. Oh no, it might be aluminium. It's very light. Okay. And there's a little transformer, so they can go in a transformer bucket to be sold. But I think it goes in with electric motors. So I'm not stressed. I think I've covered that now. Someone said you need a dose of realism, which is kind of a fair comment from their perspective. And that's the thing I want to get to. In fact, I think I need to look at the camera for this part. I think people watched my walk around and saw all the stuff, and it can be overwhelming for people. I understand that. But I think they put themselves in the situation where if that was their shed, if it was left to them maybe, how would they deal with it all? What would they do with it? They don't have a shop. I obviously have a shop, and it's an easy outlet for stuff. But I think it's a bit like, say, a downhill mountain skier. Now, take away the fact that you might get injured, but I think if you were faced with that and that's not your thing, or maybe you've never tried it before, or maybe you've done it once on a small hill, to face that prospect is hugely daunting and way outside your comfort zone and totally overwhelming. Now, if you put it in that context, I'm a well-trained downhill skier. I'm not, by the way. I've never skied at all. However, I'm experienced at doing cleanups. A big shed full of clutter doesn't scare me at all. In fact, it excites me. I can't wait to get into it. And as I mentioned before, the Great Backyard Cleanup at the shop, the Great Farm Cleanup, which went for 76 episodes, they were bigger jobs than my shed will ever be. So and someone, I forget who it was, I'm going to forget names, I'm sorry, I made a few notes. Someone said, take a little bit at a time. And that's what I'm doing in the emergency storage shed. Don't look at the big picture because it's daunting. Well, it's not daunting for me, but I'm still going to do one step at a time and work my way through it. The challenge is, of course, to get more out than what comes in. And that's, I'll have to try and monitor that because I'm not going to stop stuff coming in. That's what we do. I am going to try this year, though, to say no to every big house and shed clean out. We do get offered them all the time. And I do want to make some positive progress into this shed before I bring more stuff in. I've drifted. I'm going to keep drifting. So my point was that it's intimidating, or it's overwhelming, or it's almost an inconceivable amount of work to do for some of you that have never experienced cleaning out sheds and houses. You might have done your parents' place, and it can be stressful. I don't have an emotional attachment to most of it. I can make quick decisions if I need to. And of course, last year, well, we had an interrupted year with Christine's cancer journey. And we're back on track this year, hopefully with minimal hospital stays for both of us. And I can peg away at it, and I reckon it'll surprise you how quickly I can get things done. Okay, while I'm still on camera, it was suggested that I've been shaped by my farm experience growing up with lots of sheds and lots of room, and that's probably true. And certainly the mindset of keeping things because they'll be handy one day is very much a farmer's mentality. You don't like wastage, you like to reuse stuff. It's often a case for some farms that it's a long way to a hardware store to pick up some things, so you keep as much as you can on hand. And Dad was a great example of that. He reused everything. He was the original ultimate recycler, really, because he kept old machinery going with, fencing wire and hay band, and he was good with a welder and that sort of stuff. So certainly I've been shaped by that, and I don't like throwing away supplies that could be useful. I do have to be realistic about what I'm likely to use here, and because I can just duck down to a hardware, I'm going to probably quit some stuff that I previously would have kept. So I am starting to make some rational changes. just to keep things a little bit more organised. And in the walk around, I didn't mention the Triton workbench. I do want to do some timber work, but for the amount of space that takes up at the moment, compared to when I'm finally going to get around to doing a bit of timber work or woodwork, I'm going to sell those now, clear out some space. So they'll be rationalising, and then I'll buy something new if I need it, if I want to go down that path. The trouble is, and someone mentioned, a few people mentioned, I've got too many interests, and that's true. I have. It would be so much easier if I was just a boombox collector and that's all I did, or I just did woodwork and that's all I did. But I like to fix everything. If I don't know how to fix it, I like to learn. And because of that, I keep a lot of stuff as projects, but also for parts. So, okay, back to this box, or we'll never get it done. But I really appreciated everyone's comments. There's some great information. There's more aluminium. And it's good to get other people's perspectives. A nice, heavy, chunky transformer. Where'd I put the other one? Over there. That's the front little grill out of a fan heater. And it's probably aluminium. Yes, it's nice and light, non-magnetic. And oh, there's some nice heavy copper pipe. Beautiful. Check that. And if you're in doubts about copper, a file is the best way. Copper's very soft. You can feel it drag. And of course, copper has that nice pinkish look. I see a lot of people confused with brass and copper when they're selling things on Facebook, because I do manage a few Facebook pages. There's another piece of copper. So copper's very, very pinkish. Brass is quite yellowish. Brass, of course, is an alloy of copper. And I'm not sure what else is in brass. I forget now. Zinc. Maybe a bit of tin. I'm not sure. There's different alloys. Some of it's called bronze. Some of it's called brass. Another nice piece of brass. That's been soldered, so that'll be number 2. Whereas that one is nice, clean brass. Well, it's not clean, but it will go as number 1 copper or candy copper. Depends on your yard. Some of them get a little fussy. If there's a lot of paint on it, they won't take it as number 1. I think that one would slip through. Probably if you had a whole box of just this, they might look at it a bit funny, but most of it being clean. There's no solder, there's no paint, and not chromed. A bit more of a gearbox here with cast aluminium. I think that was from a drill. So I think that's probably clean cast. Oh no, there's something magnetic there. So rather than try and pull that apart, yeah, there's a needle roller bearing in there. Awfully hard to punch out. Not worth it. That's just going in irony aluminium. Now, where was I up to? Okay, with all the stuff, how to deal with it? Well, a few people suggested getting someone in to help. And I think I'm crossing that off the list straight away, because I don't think I could share my shed with anyone else, regardless of the amount of room in here. Aluminium. But just, no matter how experienced someone is, I think I'd be always watching what they're doing, suggesting how I would do it. It would take away from me being productive. I'd then become a supervisor of sorts, more aluminium. And I don't want to do that at all. It wasn't a bad idea to suggest donating some projects and things to various other people that might want to do it, or even community groups. But honestly, I would never find anyone around here that would want to do that, especially on low value items. I think that's a gas line tap. That'll be all brass, that one. Yes, it's actually been ground. You can see the yellowness there. Not sure on the light, but that's definitely brass. So someone to help is off the agenda. Someone suggested having a big spinning wheel that I can say, what will we do next? Let's spin the wheel this week and see where it comes up, you know, whether something out of the carport, or repair a boombox or something. Whilst that would be fun, I don't want to be that random. I think I want to be more methodical. Nice piece of cast aluminium. I don't know what that was off. It looks like some sort of light fitting housing. Don't know. So I don't think we'll do the spinning wheel, but it was a fun suggestion. Now the recyclables, the aluminium cans, the bottles, the plastic bottles and glass bottles, all 10-cent deposit stuff, I am going to quit doing, but they take up too much space. And a few people suggested squashing them. I don't think the depot that I take them to likes them being squashed. But then that's extra work. I mean, it's not viable for me now. Just so if I had to sit there and squash them or jump on them or something, I don't think I would be doing that. That's brass, but I think it's got some metallic screws there. We'll have to take them out. It's worth doing for a big piece of brass. They also suggested giving them to a charity group or a school to raise some money. Well, that's fair enough too, but that means I still have to collect them and store them. So I'm not going to do that. I can't really offer the bins of our Airbnb for the school or a community group to go through, because I don't think people like going through bins, to be honest. So that's a heating element out of a hot water service. And I don't know, it's not magnetic. That big nut there will be brass. I'm not sure what the actual element is. Oh, it looks like copper, but it's going to have a ceramic type powder in there, and then the actual heating wire will be nichrome. So it certainly couldn't go, probably couldn't even go as number 2 copper. It's too contaminated. Big chunk of brass there though. I think we'd get away with the whole thing in irony brass. It's not worth trying to cut the ends off just for that fitting, because you've still got things going through it. So irony brass for that one. So yeah, the recyclables I'm going to get rid of. I'll take the load I've got there now down to the depot. I've got enough for a trip. And I'll probably take my camera and film what the guy does down there. He's a nice bloke, and he has it sorted out pretty well how he processes it. Here's some copper wire, braided copper wire. Quite a chunk of it. And it looks pretty clean. Has it got wire inside it? No, I think it's just like earth strapping. So that's good. That's a good lump of copper. That will go as, probably number 2. There's a little bit of green verdigris corrosion in there. But I think we'd get number 2 copper for that. That weighs a bit. I'll quickly check what it weighs. Three-quarters of a kilo. So that's going to be about $8 or so of copper in that lump. So that's, we're going to get rid of the recyclable stuff. Oh goodness, there's all sorts of bits in here. These are brass connecting strips from a power board. So that's nice clean brass. A scrap run. Speaking of scrap metal, I will be doing a scrap run to Melbourne soon. I'm getting quite a bit. And as soon as I'm sure we can get a good paying load and the van is empty, we will load up and I'll take you down to the scrapyard with me. We used to do a few loads when we were doing the Great Backyard Cleanup series a few years back now. I think that's brass. And that was always fun, and not to mention profitable. So yes, brass. So I will be doing that soon once we get organised. And I think that can go with the other element, much the same. Copper outside, some brass, but other contaminants. Oh, there's more bits of this brass. So yeah, we'll get rid of the scrap metal and stuff. That will give us a bit of room back for sure. Now the timber. A few people mentioned the big stack of timber I have under tarps out there. They're Oregon beams from an old shop. And I need to get onto those and check them, because a few warned of the possibility of termites getting into them, and that is actually a possibility. I did put them up on timber beams, but termites can certainly climb. So that's a little bit of a worry. I probably should have not left them there that long. Nice piece of brass there. So we will get to that on one of the videos coming up soon, and hopefully they're okay. And I'll have to make a decision on those. I think I might sell it all. We'll see how we go. There's some good cast aluminium. I'm not sure what that's out of. It looks like some sort of slip clutch. And that piece is from the bottom half of a motorbike type handle, like a clutch lever or something, but just nice clean cast aluminium there. Some more aluminium stripping, or quite a bit of it. Yep. So we'll get to that timber at some stage, and that will free up a lot of room outside. I'm sure Christine will be happy with that. I think she wanted to put a garden there. That'll be brass. We'll put that in irony brass. It's got some contaminants in it, not worth cleaning up. Now, suggestions to get rid of some stuff, or where to start actually. And what's this? I think that's the base of an antenna. It is too. It's the base of an antenna. I don't know what that will be made from. There's a steel grub screw. There's a steel washer and bolt at the bottom. Oh, that's brass. I think we'll put that in irony brass. It's not worth pulling apart for a few bits of brass. It's not very heavy. So where to start in the shed? Well, the best suggestions, and there was multiple people suggest this, that I clean up around this workbench so I can get right around it, and there's less chance of me knocking things off and them getting lost. This box that we're sorting now was down the back of my bench, and I have had things fall in here before. that I've had to dig out. So we'll clean up right around the workbench, which will include, once I empty them, getting rid of those orange Triton workbenches, and that will make a lot of space in the middle of the shed. And then we'll be so much more productive and be able to get more repairs done without the stress of no room to move and losing stuff down the back. That's going with irony aluminium with the other one. Now, the other go along with that was to clean up the area coming into the shed. We have a whole heap of brass hardware here. All fine. Oh, that's a copper, that's a brass rivet. Lots of brass pieces here. Little nuts, they're fine thread nuts. I'll probably never ever use those. They can go in the scrap brass. There's a pile of them down the bottom, that's good. A bit more clean aluminium. So we'll clean up the track. You can just see a bit of it there. And when you see me walking in carrying boxes from the emergency storage shed, you know how narrow that is. I would like to do some lawnmower repairs, and there's no way known I can get a lawnmower in here. So I think that's going to be the important first target area, is around this workbench and the track in. And I think everyone that suggested that, I was thinking that would be the go, and people have confirmed those thoughts. Now, also, a few people mentioned larger things should go, because they're easy to get rid of generally, and a lot of them are low value, like the bikes that I've got at the secret storage shed, where I'm actually paying a little bit of rent. Not a lot. It's a really good deal I've got with a guy. But people are right. I shouldn't be paying to keep things stored, so that should be probably a priority. But there's a lot there. These are all bits of brass. So we'll probably get rid of the bikes, and maybe if I can make enough room here, we can look at doing the motorbikes, getting them out of there, and some of the boxes that can then, maybe we'll get one box from there each week, an electric motor out or something. Yeah, this is just all little brass bits, brass fittings. Good, lots of brass. So yeah, a couple of people said the carport, or maybe someone said the carport. I'd like to get the carport done, but it's probably not quite so important. I think I'll try and get something out of there fairly regularly. But main priority is going to be to clean around this bench here and the entranceway. That's the slide, it's brass. That's the slide from a motorbike carburetor. It had a needle, there should have been a needle in it, and that slides up and down in the carburetor to regulate your airflow and your fuel mixture. So just lots of little brass fittings in here. Oh, that's a relay. It's got a nice coil of copper in there. I think that can just go into electric motors. And this is a bit of an old billy, a bit squashed up, but just aluminium. What else did people suggest? No one really suggested getting the stuff out of the studio, which is fine. I mean, most of the stuff in the studio is actually my collection. I don't really want to sell boom boxes at this stage. And someone suggested, I think it was Sarah, suggested restoring that Flinders Street railway station clock. And I'd like to. I think we'll try and get that as a project fairly soon, because that can go up on the deck and we'll actually use it, and it looks awesome. Nice piece of braided copper to go with the other piece. Plumbing fitting, that's chromed, but that will be all brass. So yeah, larger stuff, low value stuff is probably good to move, certainly to make the place look better. But we're going to get lots of unboxings. We're going to get e-waste stuff, and people have expressed that they're going to miss the e-waste series. Well, I don't think you'll need to worry about that. We're going to get enough electrical stuff come in. And with my weekly, well, there'll be more than weekly. I'm hoping to get at least 2, maybe even 3 of these videos out a week. Let's just say 2, because I do want to do some separate repair videos. Nice piece of extruded heatsink there. And I do want to make sure I get my regular weekly emergency storage shed video. That's a piece of die cast, that one. More aluminium. That's a little gallery for a light fitting. It looks brass, but that will be aluminium for sure. Now, where was I? I've totally lost track of my thought there. My hand's doing one thing. Oh, some really nice. That would go as Milbury copper. Really nice, clean copper. Top price, I don't know what that's now, $15 a kilo or something. Pretty good value, that one. But yeah, we're going to work on doing videos on this series, which I'll talk about right at the end of the video and let you know what I'm thinking of doing. They're oxyacetylene fittings. They're all brass, and the piece they screw onto is brass too. It's more like a storage thing for them. I don't know that they've got any separate value. I mean, people still do use oxyacetylene sets, but I'm not sure if these have got much value. I'll check that out. I probably won't scrap them yet, because I might get better value for them as a set of oxyacetylene nozzles. And the other thing people said was to prioritise projects, because I do have so many projects. What's that? Oh, it's a solenoid. That can go with electric motors. And prioritising projects will be important. I'll get rid of a lot of the lower value ones. I will be able to sell some things as projects, because I'm not going to have enough time to do everything myself. And I will prioritise the ones that I want to do over the ones that I'm just doing for the sake of saving. I'll probably stop trying to save really low value things. And I mentioned that in the last video. And it's one of the reasons why I'm going to stop the Monday Marathon series, because I was trying to save toasters and lamps that just weren't worth it. I was spending too much time. That's a cool little relay. Very nicely made. It looks like it was circuit board mounted. So a spool of copper. I'm just going to put that with transformers though. Sometimes I do sell good relays through the shop. There's a little choke, copper wire on that one. More aluminium and more transformers. We're getting to the bottom of the box. That's good. I might make a bit of space and we'll tip it out. Oops, something rolled off the other side of the table. At least it wasn't an important piece of hardware for a repair job. Alright, so as you can see, oh, there's a carburetor off. Oh, geez. That has that slide thing that I showed you before. So this is too small for a motorbike or anything, probably a brush cutter. But I don't think it's going to be of much value to keep. I might hang on to it. Nah, it can go in with the irony aluminium. It's mostly cast aluminium. These drum bungs from a 44-gallon drum, they're all a die-cast zinc. Heat sinks, aluminium casing, lots of bits of aluminium. Quite a heavy piece. A large choke with copper wire there. It's not really worth trying to get the copper wire off those. I'm going to put those all in with the electric motors. A sheet of, that looks like brass actually. Yep. That'll give you a better view of the yellowness of brass. There, a comparison for you guys that don't do any scrapping. Brass plate and copper pipe. Now I'm not sure how well the camera is picking up the colours, but easy to recognise once you have a bit of a go. That looks like aluminium. Well, actually it could be, and it's non-magnetic, but it's way too hard. If that was aluminium, it'd be really easy to bend. So that'll be stainless steel. You also notice the hardness of stainless when you go to file it. It's actually very hard. Quite often the file will skate across the top of it. So piece of stainless there. Non-magnetic stainless, which I keep separately. I don't save stainless that is magnetic. I just send that to the local transfer station as general scrap metal. There's a piece of die-cast zinc. So just a lot of sundries here to clean up. Some pretty good value though. Quite a lot of brass. That's a big chunk. Is that brass? Could be. No. Unless it's coated with something. Not sure what that is. It looks like lead on the outside. I think that actually might be a... Don't know. Sometimes you have pieces that you just can't work out. Looks like it's a cast aluminium, but it's too heavy. So it possibly is a cast zinc or a die cast. I think I'll put it in with the die cast. Certainly silver there and not yellow brass or pink copper. Okay, I'll sort this out. Might be interesting just to weigh this up and give you an idea of how much value was in this tub. And then we'll wind up the video. I've done a lot of talking. Okay, it would not be an episode from the Ultimate Recycler without the notepad, so we brought out the notepad. I've sorted all the scrap into its various categories. I'm going to try and get $10 for that. If I don't, it's probably worth about $2 for brass. One little brass wood screw that I'll throw in the jar, a couple of bits of lead, which I didn't worry about, and everything else is written on the notepad. Most of our value was brass. I normally would probably keep the nuts, but they're all fine thread, as I mentioned, and there's so many of them. I think I'll just let them go for brass just to save the hassle of dealing with them. All right, our total, look at this. If we get 10 for that, the nozzles, we've got over $80. So good value in the brass. I think it was over $30 for the brass. It was 3.5 kilos. The copper always pays really well. And the other things will just go to their assorted or respective buckets in my shed here, which I will be getting more organised, and we'll go through that as we deal with it. And yes, we will have a scrap run coming up fairly soon. The only thing I didn't add to this was the die cast. So let me know if any of you have a scrapyard that takes die cast separately. What do they pay for it? Can you throw it in with your cast aluminium? We don't have very much here, and I could certainly throw a few bits in with the cast aluminium to get rid of it. But I'm just wondering what you other guys that actually do a bit of scrap work, what you do with your die cast. Okay, well that finishes the tub of assorted scrap. I can now put all these in their respective tubs, as I mentioned, and we just need to run a bit of a conclusion to this scrapping and chatting video. I just browsed back through the notepad again. There was a couple of things I didn't mention. When a few people are asking about the recyclables, the plastic bottles, the glass bottles and the aluminium cans, what happens to them if I don't cash them in at the depot for their 10 cents? Well, I'm still going to get them recycled. I'll still put them in our curbside recycling bin, and presumably maybe the council do that? I don't know. Presumably they'll get recycled, so there's no drama about them going into landfill. That won't happen. So that's not a problem. I'm really just saving my space and my time. I had a couple of people, someone mentioned, I think it was Sarat, mentioned about the farm stuff, maybe leaving that till last because I've got an emotional attachment to it. It takes up a lot of space and there's not a lot of value there. So I think that's all got to go. I don't think there's any emotional attachment really to that stuff. Yes, the farm stuff, obviously I have a connection with, but we have the ute to do up now. If you saw the last episode, Dad's ute we're going to keep and do some work on. Incidentally, I probably had a few new subscribers from that video, and I hope you enjoy my channel. I'm going to get back to that fairly often, and eventually, as I suggested right at the end of that video, that I might pick up another old car down the track when I have room and do a bit of a restoration on it, something I've always wanted to do. Yes, you are right, I don't need any more projects at the moment, but there's always the future. Okay, now, was there anything else to mention? I think I covered everything on my list fairly well. Bit of a broad sweep over some of it. I really appreciate everyone's comments. I do try and reply to every comment, or just about everyone. Certainly if you ask a question, I will reply. I don't know, I'm going to get to a stage where my channel is way too big to just keep up with the comments, but I do like to keep that personal touch. And I appreciate all you regulars who I've got to know quite well through the comments section. And I like to see sometimes there's a bit of a discussion under a certain comment where others are chipping in. And that's kind of nice to see. So keep that up, guys. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next, I was going to touch on our plan moving forward from here. This is pretty important. Why did I nearly forget this? My videos, my channel will feature videos on this whole process of going through my shed, getting it more organized. As a baseline, it's going to be the stable, regular videos of this channel. I'm still going to do my emergency storage shed video each week, just an unboxing. I'm still going to do some repair videos. And we're going to be doing, I think what I'll do is probably almost a life in the day of the Ultimate Recycler, nearly every day or every second day, or I might combine a few days together. And that way I can take you along, not have a structured video, but just do like, all right, today we're going to get, this box from under the workbench, and we might try and sell the Triton workbench, but wait, we have a bit of e-waste on the deck to deal with. I won't be going through it like I used to, but I will show you. I have occasionally other little repair videos pop up, or not videos, jobs that aren't video worthy in their own right, but I will include them in a a mixed video of what we're doing today, and I might jump from a few different jobs. I have a piano stool to paint. I have a few things on the deck to deal with, only quick things, but I might take you along on what's happening today fairly regularly. So what do you think of that? It's more of a general let's get all this sorted out and what's come in this week and what someone dropped off at the shop, and let's test this, and I don't know, we'll see how we go. It'll develop as time goes on. I'll be shaped by your feedback, which I always appreciate. So we'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.